When I upload videos on YouTube or write some posts on the social media platforms, very often the students ask, "Sir, is this important for our exam? From the first year MBBS point of view, is this important?" Look, some topics may be more important, some topics may be less important, but some topics are simply to arouse your interest in the subject of physiology and medicine in general. So today's video is on such one topic. You can see these objects here, and if you have watched the horror movies from 80s and 90s, these two were the constant features in those movies. These props were often used by the characters in the horror movies. There is a candelabrum with multiple candle holder, and there is a chandelier. You will often see in those movies chandelier hanging on the ceiling. And you will be surprised to know that we have two cells in the body with exact same names because of the appearance. The candelabrum cell and the chandelier cell. Both are nerve cells, and therefore I thought I will make a video on these two nerve cells. So let's start. Okay, let's start with the chandelier cell. This is how it appears, or the chandelier has different forms, but the chandelier cell, basically, you know, chandelier is a large decorative hanging light with branches for several light bulbs or candles. Now this is a nerve cell, and it is exclusively present in the neocortex, particularly in the motor cortex. You can see here that there is a pyramidal cell, giant bed cell or pyramidal cell in the motor cortex, and this is the cell body, this is the axon, and the starting point, as you know, is called as the axon hillock or initial segment. And here is that chandelier cell. It's a nerve cell, and to be precise, it's an interneuron. You know, there are sensory neurons, there are motor neurons, and there are interneurons which connect the two. So chandelier cell or chandelier neuron is an interneuron, and the point that you should notice, apart from its shape, which appears like a hanging chandelier, that it is making a synaptic contact with this pyramidal cell in the motor cortex, but where the synaptic contact is being made at the axon hillock, and that's the unique and very, very peculiar feature. If you know the synapses, most common synapses are either axodendritic, means axon of the first neuron ending on the dendrite of the next neuron, or axosomatic, axon ending on the cell soma. So dendrite, soma, this is where the neurons end and make synaptic contact. This is very unique. The chandelier cell makes a synaptic contact with the pyramidal cell, but where? At the axon hillock, where the first action potential is generated and propagated. So let's see what this cell is. Chandelier cell is a GABAergic inhibitory interneuron. It's an interneuron. Well, fine. It's a GABAergic inhibitory interneuron, exclusively found in the neocortex. This interneuron synapses exclusively with the axon hillock or initial segment of the pyramidal neurons of the cortex. If you have read the pyramidal tract, 3% fibers of the pyramidal tract, they start from this giant bed cell or pyramidal cell. So basically, it is involved in initiation of the motor activity, contractions of the muscles involved in the various movements. Right. Note, most of the synapses in CNS are on the dendrite, as I mentioned just now, either on the dendrite or on the cell soma. This one is on the axon hillock, where the site where AP is initiated. Okay. You might ask, all right, this information is good, but does it have any clinical application? Yes, it does. Chandelier cell dysfunction has a well-established connection in schizophrenia. They have found that the dysfunction of this cell has been associated with the schizophrenia, and Chandelier cell dysfunction has been implicated in epilepsy. This you can easily correlate. See, this is a pyramidal cell, pyramidal neuron, and this is going to send signals on the spinal cord and is involved in the muscle contractions throughout the body. Now, this has the inhibitory connection. Chandelier cell is an inhibitory interneuron and it is ending on the axon hillock. So that means Chandelier cell is going to kind of inhibit the firing, repetitive firing by the pyramidal cell. And that means if the Chandelier cell is dysfunctioned, that it might result in excessive firing of the pyramidal cell from the motor cortex, which means it might result in excessive vigorous contractions of the muscles seen in epilepsy. So an interesting cell. Another cell is the candelabrum cell. This is the candelabrum, a candle stand with multiple candle holders. So the cell appears somewhat like that. Candelabrum cell, it's called so because of the axonal arborization, which is similar to the candelabrum. So axons and dendrites of the candelabrum cell, they synapse with the Purkinje cell in the cerebellum. Where do you find candelabrum cell? In the cerebellum. Where does it synapse? It synapses with the Purkinje cell, Purkinje neuron. So this is a GABAergic interneuron located in the Purkinje cell layer. Again, a GABAergic interneuron that is common between these two, Chandelier and candelabrum. All right. So you can see here, Purkinje cell is a very most important, central cell in the cerebellar circuit. It is always controlling the output via the deep nuclear cell. Now, this candelabrum cell, its arborization of the dendrites and axons is on the Purkinje dendrites, and it's quite similar to that candelabrum, a multiple candle holder or a stand. So, GABAergic interneuron making inhibitory contact with the Purkinje cell of the cerebellum. That's how you can describe the candelabrum cell. So their dendrites and axons terminate in the molecular layer where the axonal arborization pattern resembles a candelabrum. Excited by the mossy fibers and the granule cells. You know, incoming fibers into the cerebellum carrying proprioceptive impulses. One of the fibers is called as mossy fiber type, and these mossy fibers and granule cells, they excite the candelabrum cell, and the cell is inhibited by the Purkinje cell. They are making a reciprocal synaptic contact. So Purkinje cell would inhibit the candelabrum cell, and candelabrum cell inhibits the other interneurons, Golgi cell, basket cell, stellate cell. These are the interneurons that inhibit the Purkinje cell, and those interneurons are inhibited by the candelabrum cell. So this is called as disinhibition. Inhibition of the inhibition. If you have lost it, I'll repeat once again. There are short interneurons which inhibit the Purkinje cell. Which are they? The Golgi cell, basket cell, stellate cell. And if the Purkinje cell is inhibited, it means its influence on the deep nuclear output will not be there. But candelabrum cell inhibits those inhibitory interneurons. Which ones? Golgi, basket, stellate. That means their inhibition of the Purkinje cell will be suppressed. That means Purkinje cell will be activated more and more. This is called as disinhibition of the Purkinje cell. Inhibition of the inhibition. Alright, that's the function of the candelabrum cell, and therefore what you can remember, if you don't know the cerebellar circuit, at least just remember these cells control the cerebellar output. By controlling the Purkinje cell firing, the candelabrum cells, they control the cerebellar output, which means they control the voluntary motor activity in a way. Isn't the physiology amazing?